Okay, welcome back everyone. All right, our next presenter is Stan Romanek. All right, that name might ring a bell with everybody because Stan's case is really a big one. And we took a real in-depth look at it all the way back in, I think, 2004. And it's as valid today as the day it was done. 4 full hours on his case with Stan and Deborah Lindemann and Dr. Jack Kasher and Dana Tebow. Major presentation. Why? Because it's a major case. It has everything. It has photo evidence, video evidence, witnesses. And here's the thing. Rock solidly established, I think, 2004. But guys, there's been stuff happening all the way from 2004 until this very day. Get ready for a ride. Please welcome Stan Romanek.
Can everybody hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming here. Let me share my story. Those of you in the intelligence community, I hope you're having a good time. Those of you that are off-world visitors, thank you so much for visiting us, and I hope you're having a wonderful time also. I've got a lot to go through, so I'm going to get started because we have little time. I can literally do probably a week presentation if I wanted to. I want to start out, first of all, by putting things into perspective. There's something I'm sure some of you didn't know. First of all, our solar system resides in the Milky Way. That's what we think, right? Our sun is one of about 200 billion suns in the Milky Way. We're located on the outer edge of the outer reaches of a spiral arm called the Orion Arm. Two-thirds the way from the galactic center, or so we thought. Scientists have now determined that the Milky Way is actually not our parent galaxy, and there's a reason I'm telling you this. We're from another galaxy called the Sagittarian dwarf galaxy. The Milky Way actually swallowed it up, and people wanted to know, there was this big debate why the Milky Way looks kind of crooked, and now they're thinking this is why. A little schematic here of where the Sagittarian is and where the Milky Way is and where we are. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because it was speculated that there are about 200 billion stars in our galaxy. They now believe that there are over 400 billion stars with the combined galaxies. NASA researchers that I've talked to are saying that there are over 300 billion galaxies in the universe that they can detect with the Hubble Space Telescope. Honestly, to think we're the only ones would be absolutely the most ludicrous thing in the world. That being said, let's get started. June 6, 1968, my father served in the Air Force. This is probably when my experiences started, to be honest with you. I was 5 years old at the time. My dad was stationed in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And he worked between Grand Forks and Minot, North Dakota. He worked at the missile silos. Well, in 1968, they had an incident where a UFO dropped down on one of the missile silos and actually armed one of the missiles. Now, this is public record. You can get this information on the internet. You can find out about this yourself. But what they didn't tell you is they tracked the UFO to a small town called Northwood, North Dakota, where it hovered over the water tower there in our small town. Now, my brother remembers seeing my dad with a small detail surround this water tower, and the UFO eventually went away. This is supposed to be an actual photograph of that particular UFO. I don't know. This was sent to me. I don't know if this is real or not, but it's supposed to be. And I remember after that incident, we started getting bottled water. Yeah, bizarre, huh? February 22nd, 2010, this is just recently, I got a call from the son of a general. This general, I promised him I wouldn't mention his name, but this general was in charge of Minot, North Dakota when my dad was stationed there. He wanted to tell me about some other stuff that happened in the 60s. He wanted to tell me that they had an incident where they tracked a UFO in 1966 down to one of the missile silos, and it kind of flew over some B-52s. Now, these are supposed documents I just got sent by this general. He's really ill. His son told me that he's not doing well, and he wanted to get this information out that he's been holding on to for quite some time. So you guys are the first to see it. I wished I had time to let you guys read it, but I don't. I'm just showing you that I have it. This is one of the witness reports. The MPs actually took a picture. This picture is first time ever seen by the public. And there's the picture of the UFO over Minot Air Force Base in 1967. So 66, 67, 68, they had all this UFO stuff. And this is about when I had my first experience. And this is pretty important because this gets weird. This woman came up to me when I was 5 years old. I was playing with my pedal car. It was a summer day. And I remember she was very strange looking. Even as a 5-year-old child, I thought she was very pretty, except her eyes were different, very slanted, almond-shaped, baby blue eyes. In fact, they weren't even baby blue. They were almost day-glow blue. And I remember she patted me on the head and told me that I was special and I had something to do when I got older. She opened her hand. When she opened her hand, I remember she had 3 fingers. The marble started to glow. It was a glowing marble. And to me, it looked like a glowing version of the earth. And it started levitating about a 1/4 inch off her hand. Well, this, you know, I talked to Paula Harris. Paula Harris is a good friend of ours, and she was talking to me about Maurizio Cavallo in Italy. Took some Polaroids of somebody he calls the Clarion people. Well, this reminded me of this strange woman that I saw. I mean, it looks almost exactly, except, you know, she wasn't blurry when I saw her. But the same kind of weird eyes, the skinny features. And this is what I remember. This same woman followed me throughout my childhood. We moved from North Dakota. I was born in Denver, moved to North Dakota when I was really young, then moved back to Denver. And in between there, my dad was stationed for a little while in Cheyenne, and she was there the whole time. The last time I saw her, I was up at a playground. I was about 10 years old, waiting for the swimming pool to open at the local park. She came up to me, and she started talking, and I was swinging on swings, not paying attention. And I looked up, and she said, "You're one of us. We're you." And I looked at her. So why would this, you know, being 10 years old, that's really unusual. But what got me was the fact that her mouth was not moving when she told me this. Now, as a kid, you kind of don't put 2 and 2 together. You kind of blow it off. Until December of 2000, I had my first real sighting. I didn't believe in this stuff. I thought anybody that believed in this stuff was crazy. I wanted them to stay away from me. But I met somebody online. She lived in Nebraska. I lived in Colorado. And, you know, I wanted her to come visit me. We became really good friends. You know, we were kind of dating this long-distance relationship. And I'm thinking, you know, what's the best way to do that? Well, I decided to go up to what is known as Red Rocks Amphitheater, a very well-known spot up in the foothills of Colorado. Beautiful. They have concerts there. And I was going to videotape the surrounding area. This was about December 27th, beautiful winter day, snow on the ground, perfect setting. And I was going to mail this videotape to her, and I was going to, you know, I was going to send her some flowers or something. I never made it to Red Rocks. onto the side of the road. There were about 30 cars pulled off to the side of the road. And if you look, you can see the power lines. Behind the power lines, you see what's known as Dinosaur Ridge, and behind that is Red Rocks. Above the power lines, I'd say probably a good anywhere from 60 to 200 feet. Kind of hard to judge distance when you're afraid. There was an object, and when I saw this object, all these people were looking south, and I looked to see what they were looking at, and this object was hovering above the power lines. I'm thinking, man, that is the weirdest hot air balloon I had ever seen in my life. Well, it turned out not to be a hot air balloon at all. It turned out to be a UFO. In fact, when I got close to it with my van, it started pacing my van. I remembered, even though I was scared, I got a little brave because, there were people around. I was going to try to outrun it, but, yeah, good luck there. I pulled off to the side of the road, and I got my camcorder out, and I started videotaping this object. Well, the object reorientated itself and literally shot to about 1,000 foot in a blink of an eye. Now, growing up in the Air Force, I remember as a child the jet fighters would fly over us early morning, and they'd create these sonic booms everywhere. Well, that's what this object did. It made no sound until it popped away, and it made this sonic explosion that I could feel in my shirt. There were a bunch of people there. We all watched this object. It morphed, it changed shape, it did all these weird, bizarre things, and eventually corkscrewed away. I remember standing there with one of the guys, and about 10 minutes later, two F-16s flew the same direction as this object corkscrewed away to. This is what I thought I saw. I remember, as I got close to this object, looking in between these spheres, and these spheres were rotating counterclockwise under this bigger object, was the blackest black I'd ever seen in my life. In fact, even today, I've never seen anything that black. It looked like if I got close, I could have thrown a rock into infinity. Now, even more